How hunters and American farmers have dealt with millions of wild boars, monkeys, and baboons over the last 150 years. I have structured historical context, anecdotes, and analysis. Battling nature's invaders. How hunters and farmers took on wild boars, monkeys, and baboons over 150 years. Picture a vast farmland, lush and green, spreading across America. The crops sway gently in the breeze, promising a good harvest, but then, from the thicket, emerges a chaotic force of nature. Wild boars. They root through the crops, destroying them as they search for food. Meanwhile, in other parts of the world, troops of baboons and mischievous monkeys raid orchards and fields, stripping them of their bounty. This isn't a new problem. It's a struggle that farmers and hunters have faced for over 150 years. In this video, we'll explore how people have fought back against these relentless creatures. Wild boars in America, and monkeys and baboons in other parts of the world. It's a tale of perseverance, innovation, and the constant clash between humans and nature. The wild boar invasion in America. A 150-year legacy of trouble. The story begins in the 19th century, when European settlers brought wild boars to America for sport hunting. Little did they know, these animals were about to create one of the most devastating agricultural pests in the country. With their thick hides, sharp tusks, and insatiable appetites, wild boars began escaping captivity, multiplying at an alarming rate. By the early 20th century, their population exploded, particularly in the southern states. Farmers were among the first to sound the alarm. In the early 1900s, letters and reports flooded local governments. The hogs have destroyed everything. A Texan farmer wrote in 1925. Wild boars weren't just eating crops. They were uprooting entire fields, trampling young plants, and contaminating water supplies. Hunters enter the scene. As the problem grew, hunters became an essential part of managing the wild boar population. Throughout the 20th century, boar hunting became a cultural tradition in many states, especially in the South. Farmers partnered with hunters, offering bounties for every boar taken down. By the 1970s, hunting technologies had evolved. Hunters used rifles, traps, and even dogs bred specifically for tracking wild boars. Some even took to helicopters to chase and shoot these animals from the air, a method still in use today in states like Texas. But hunting alone couldn't control the population. Wild boars were too adaptable, too cunning. By the 1980s, scientists estimated that the wild boar population in the US was doubling every 10 years. Something more had to be done. Farmers' battle tactics. The evolution of fencing. Farmers turned to technology to protect their crops. The first electric fences appeared in the 1950s, designed specifically to keep wild boars out. These fences became more advanced over the decades, with sensors and alarms that would alert farmers to an approaching herd. But wild boars were smart. They would test the fences, finding weak spots to squeeze through. Farmers had to constantly upgrade their defenses, spending thousands of dollars just to keep their crops safe. Trapping and poisoning controversies. Trapping was another popular method. Farmers used large cage traps baited with corn or other treats to lure entire sounders of wild boars. While effective, it was labor-intensive and costly. Poisoning was introduced in the mid-20th century, but it sparked controversy. Environmentalists warned of the dangers to non-target species, and many farmers were hesitant to use poisons for fear of contaminating their own land. By the 21st century, the focus shifted back to safer, more sustainable methods of control. Monkeys and baboons. A global challenge. Raiding troops in Africa and Asia. While American farmers wrestled with wild boars, farmers in Africa and Asia faced a different enemy. Monkeys and baboons. These animals are clever, agile, and often work in large groups, making them formidable adversaries. In Kenya, for example, farmers have spent decades battling troops of baboons that raid their fields. stealing maize, bananas, and other crops. In India, rhesus monkeys invade orchards, destroying fruit trees and wreaking havoc on livelihoods. Traditional methods of defense. For centuries, farmers used scare tactics to keep monkeys and baboons away. Loud noises, guard dogs, and even trained birds of prey were employed to chase off these pests. Some communities built elaborate scarecrows or used slingshots to defend their fields. But monkeys are incredibly intelligent. They quickly learned to recognize fake threats and adapted their strategies. Farmers had to keep innovating, leading to a constant game of cat and mouse. Modern solutions to age-old problems. Technology to the rescue. By the late 20th century, technology began to play a larger role in controlling animal pests. In India, for example, farmers started using laser fences and ultrasonic devices to deter monkeys. These tools emitted sounds and lights that were unpleasant to the animals, keeping them at bay without causing harm. Similarly, in Africa, motion-activated sprinklers became a popular choice for farmers battling baboons. These devices sprayed water when triggered, startling the animals and preventing them from raiding crops. Community efforts. In many parts of the world, communities banded together to tackle the problem. In Kenya, for instance, farmers formed baboon patrols, taking turns guarding their fields and chasing off raiding troops. In India, some villages hired professional monkey catchers to relocate troublesome troops to less populated areas. The ethical debate. As the fight against these animals continued, ethical questions began to arise. Were humans justified in using lethal methods to protect their crops? Could coexistence be possible? Conservationists argued for non-lethal solutions. Emphasizing the importance of preserving ecosystems, they pointed out that habitat destruction was often the root cause of the problem, forcing animals into closer contact with humans. Farmers and hunters, however, countered that their livelihoods were at stake and that immediate action was necessary. The present day, a delicate balance. Today, the battle against wild boars, monkeys, and baboons continues. Farmers and hunters have access to more tools and technologies than ever before. But the challenges remain. Wild boars now number in the millions across the US, causing billions of dollars in damage each year. Monkeys and baboons continue to plague farmers in Africa and Asia, their populations thriving despite ongoing efforts to control them. Top 10 countries facing issues with wild boars. Monkeys and baboons. Wild boars, monkeys, and baboons cause significant challenges in various parts of the world. Below is a breakdown of the top 10 countries facing these issues, the measures taken to control them, their seasonal migration patterns, preferred food, and the factors attracting them to specific regions. 1. United States. Wild boars. Problem. Population. Millions of wild boars spread across at least 39 states. Damage. $1.5 billion annually. Affecting crops, water supplies, and ecosystems. Control measures. Hunting programs. Recreational and government-sponsored hunting are the primary controls. Traps and fencing. Electric fencing and large cage traps. Helicopter hunts, particularly in Texas, used for large-scale population reduction. Boar-specific poisons. Limited use due to environmental concerns. Boar origins and migration. Brought from Europe for hunting in the 1500s. Favor forested areas near farms. Migrating for food and water during droughts. Preferred food. Corn, soybeans, roots, and small animals. U.S. farms with monoculture crops like corn and wheat attract them. 2. India. Monkeys. Problem. Species. Rhesus macaques and langurs. Damage. Destroy fruit orchards. Raid homes and temples. Spread diseases. Control measures. Sterilization programs. Mass sterilization of monkeys to control population. Relocation. Catching and releasing monkeys in forested areas. Community action. Villagers use scare tactics like loud noises and slingshots. Monkey origins and migration. Indigenous to India. Migrate to urban areas during food shortages. Move seasonally from forests to farms during harvest. Preferred food. Fruits. Bananas. Mangoes. Vegetables. Grains. Cities attract them with leftover food from markets and tourists. 3. Kenya. Baboons and monkeys. Problem. Species. Olive baboons and vervet monkeys. Damage. Destroy maize and sugarcane crops. Invade homes. And harm livestock. Control measures. Baboon patrols. Community teams guard fields. Electric fencing. Protects farms from baboon raids. Compensation programs. Government supports farmers with subsidies. Baboon origins and migration. Indigenous to East Africa. Seasonal migration follows ripening crops and water availability. Preferred food. Maize. Bananas. Fruits. And roots. Farms along water sources attract them. 4. Australia. Feral pigs. Problem. Population. Estimated 24 million feral pigs. Damage. Destroy crops. Harm native ecosystems. Spread diseases. Control measures. Helicopter culling. Aerial shooting is highly effective. Poison baiting. Use of sodium fluoroacetate. 1080 poison. Fencing. Feral-proof fencing around critical areas. Pig origins and migration. Descended from domestic pigs introduced by settlers. Migrate based on water availability and crop harvests. Preferred food. Sugarcane. Grains. And native plant roots. Wetlands and sugarcane plantations attract them. 5. Brazil. Wild boars. Problem. Population. Millions of wild boars and hybrids. Boar domestic pig crosses. Damage. Devastation of sugarcane, corn, and soy plantations. Control measures. Legalized hunting. Hunters must register with government programs. Trapping. Use of baited traps to capture entire sounders. Boar origins and migration. Introduced by European settlers for meat and sport hunting. Moved seasonally to water-rich areas and sugarcane fields. Preferred food. Sugarcane. Soybeans. Corn. Farms near water bodies are hotspots. 6. South Africa. Baboons and monkeys. Problem. Species. Chacma baboons and vervet monkeys. Damage. Destroy vineyards. Raid orchards. And attack tourists. Control measures. Baboon monitors. Guards deter baboons from farms. Non-lethal tools. Motion-activated sprinklers and alarms. Relocation. Moving problem troops to conservation areas. Baboon origin and migration. Indigenous to southern Africa. Migrate seasonally with the availability of fruit and water. Preferred food. Grapes. Citrus fruits. Nuts. Vineyards and orchards attract them. 7. Thailand. Macaques. Problem. Species. Long-tailed macaques. Damage. Raid tourist sites and destroy fruit plantations. Control measures. Feeding programs. Designated feeding areas to reduce conflict. Sterilization campaigns. Ongoing efforts to reduce monkey populations. Monkey origins and migration. Indigenous to Southeast Asia. Move to urban areas during monsoon seasons when food is scarce in forests. Preferred food. Bananas. Coconuts. Mangoes. Orchards near urban areas are highly targeted. 8. Spain. Wild boars. Problem. Population. Growing due to lack of predators. Damage. Destroy vineyards. Dig up roots. And cause traffic accidents. Control measures. Seasonal hunts. Controlled hunting events organized by local governments. Feeding bans. Prohibition of feeding wild boars to prevent urban migration. Boar origins and migration. Native to Europe. Populations surged due to urban sprawl. Migrate to urban areas in winter for food scraps. Preferred food. Grapes. Olives. And acorns. Vineyards and olive farms attract them. 9. Indonesia. Macaques. Problem. Species. Long-tailed macaques. Damage. Destroy rice paddies and steal food from homes. Control measures. Electric fencing. Used to protect rice fields. Relocation programs. Moving macaques to remote areas. Monkey origins and migration. Indigenous to Southeast Asia. Seasonal migration follows rice harvests. Preferred food. Rice, fruits, and nuts. Rice paddies are prime targets. 10. China. Wild boars and monkeys. Problem. Species. Wild boars and Tibetan macaques. Damage. Destroy rice paddies, tea plantations, and orchards. Control measures. Hunting bounties. Government offers rewards for boar kills. Electric fencing. Used extensively in agricultural areas. Animal origins and migration. Indigenous populations. Boars spread from forests to farms. Seasonal migration coincides with rice and tea harvests. Preferred food. Rice, tea leaves, and fruits. Farms in hilly regions are frequent targets. Seasonal migration and food preferences overview. Animal migration trigger favorite foods attracting countries. Wild boars seasonal droughts. Harvests corn, soybeans, sugarcane, acorns US, Brazil, Spain, Australia. Monkeys food shortages. Urbanization bananas, mangoes, rice India, Thailand, Indonesia. Baboons ripening crops. Dry seasons maize, grapes, citrus fruits Kenya, South Africa. Control successes and challenges. Successes. Hunting and sterilization programs have slowed population growth in some areas. Technology, like electric fencing and motion detectors, has reduced crop damage. Challenges. Wild boars, monkeys, and baboons adapt quickly to human strategies. Ethical concerns and environmental impact limit lethal control methods. Urbanization and deforestation drive animals closer to human habitats. Despite advancements, no single solution has eradicated the problem entirely, and the balance between wildlife conservation and human needs remains a global challenge. The struggle is a reminder of the delicate balance between humans and nature. It's a story of resilience and ingenuity, but also of the unintended consequences of human actions. The fight against wild boars, monkeys, and baboons is far from over. As we've seen, it's a complex issue that requires a combination of traditional wisdom, modern technology, and ethical consideration. Whether it's hunters in the American South or farmers in rural Kenya, people around the world are finding ways to coexist with these animals, even as they continue to clash. If you enjoyed this journey through history and want to learn more about the incredible stories of human resilience and innovation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let us know in the comments how you think we can best tackle these challenges in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.